Alright, guys, what's going on? Today we're going to be looking at the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. As you all know, here we'll try to explore some books and bring out the values in it so that we can improve our financial capacity. Very quickly, let's go to the introduction. What is the book talking about? So, the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey is a practical, no nonsense guide to transforming your financial life. So, if you're really interested in changing your financial status, this is a book to read. And so many reviews on this book and so many testimonials of how people moved from abject poverty into owning properties and escaped every poverty into financial independence. So the book emphasizes on getting out of debt, building wealth, and taking control of your financial future using proven step-by-step strategies. So the Francis approach is very simple, but it requires discipline and commitment to reach financial peace. It is not a quick money means it demands that you take practical steps, proven steps, which once you can be disciplined enough to take all these steps, surely you're going to get a good result from it. And that said, let's just jump right into our learning for today before we quickly get into the practice of how we can use these principles in our daily life. So, very quickly, the main ideas in this book, let me highlight them quickly as we move forward. Where is my bottom? The main idea is number one, Dave Ramsey talked about living on budget. And of course, for most of us already, we know or we are already living on budget. But here is a more detailed way to go about it. First thing first, the foundation of financial success is in creating and sticking to a budget. We all know that whenever we get emotional about things, we tend to make mistakes. So the foundation has always been on creating and sticking to a budget. So every dollar that we have needs a purpose. So you know exactly where your money is going to each month. Every dollar should have a purpose. Like budgeted it, let me stick to it. Either you budgeted it for investment, for upkeep, for healthcare, or for adventure. But let every dollar have its purpose and where it is going into. That's what Dave Ramsey is saying in terms of budgeting. He say you can do this by creating a simple monthly budget that covers all your expenses. Then you prioritize saving and debt repayment. So if you have debts that you need to pay, make sure you prioritize them. And even amidst all that, you should still find a way to be saving, even though it's a penny. As example, you encourage us to use apps like as examples, we can use apps like Mint or YNAB to track your income and expenses in real time. So, what I do personally is I put all the money I want to use in a particular payment app and I make every payment from that app so that I can sit back and actually track where my money is going and what it is going into. That said, let's look at the second big idea, build a $1,000 emergency fund. Dave Ramsey encouraged that before tackling any debt, any kind of debt at all, you need a small emergency fund for unexpected expenses like your car repair, your medical bills, those things that actually happen unexpected. You need to be ready for them. If you want to pay your debt and you just go all in into paying of debt and unforeseen circumstance happens, it's going to be really difficult. That is why he encourages us to first of all build up a an emergency fund. So this will prevent you from falling deeper into debt when life happens. Your quest of actually paying up your debt, you make sure you don't fall into more debts. It should be your goal. It might not really be a $1,000 emergency fund, but let it be an emergency fund that you can check back or run back to when some of these life happens. So he said you should set out $1,000 as quickly as possible by cutting down unnecessary spending and saving aggressively. It is something you can do. Take out few months to just focus on growing that emergency fund. If it means cutting down on frivolities or things that you really like to do, but you can't do it at the moment, just a little sacrifice to have these savings aside so that you can focus more on, clearing out your debts or, growing a business, as the case may be. One of the way you can do that is to sell unused item or take a side gig to quickly save $1,000. Just focus on that, narrow in on that, and get it done. It can be anything at all. Just find a way to build that emergency fund. Third big idea is a pay off all debts using the debt snowball. So the idea behind this is that everyone should know what is taking their money. So Dave Ramsey advocates for the debt snowball method, where you're paying off your smallest debt first. Don't go for the big one. Go for the smallest debt first. It has a way of motivating you into taking on the bigger one. When you achieve those little ones, you find yourself doing what? Having more capacity and momentum to go for the big one. So paying up the first debt first, then using the money you freed up to tackle larger debts. This will help you build motivation, just like I said, and momentum that you need to get those bigger debts out of your plate. So list out your debts from the smallest to the largest and start paying off the smallest debt while making minimum payments on the other debts. So for example, if you have a gig and you just got $200, why not look for the least debt you have and pay it off? Whatever is left, you send it to the bigger debts, and that way you can get out of the issue as quick as possible. So as example, if you have, like I just said, a 500 credit card balance and a 5,000 loan, focus on paying off the credit card first to free a sense of accomplishment towards getting the other ones done. All right, that said, let's move on to the next one. Full emergency fund within 3 to 6 months of expenses. So once your debt is paid off, you need to increase the emergency fund actually to cover up 3 to 6 months of living expenses. What are we trying to say here? If you have a 1,000 emergency fund and you discover that, I've been able to pay off those my debts, I'm a bit free now. What you can do is to level up that emergency fund. This will protect you in case of job loss and major financial crisis. What we're trying to say is, remember the $1,000 emergency fund was for some circumstances like medical bills and some life issues just come up where you need to solve a problem, like your car suddenly goes bad. But if you've been able to solve all your problems and you're debt free, you can still adopt that strategy to build bigger emergency funding that you can use later on when major issues like losing your job comes up. So save gradually by setting aside a percentage of your income each month to build your full emergency fund. Yes, very good strategy. For example, if your monthly expenses are $2,500, you should aim to save $7,000 or $50,000 for a robust emergency fund. You should have something big, such that when opportunities comes your way, you have somewhere to run to and get what you can use to fund that project. That said, another strategy Dave Ramsey encourages to invest 15% of your income for retirement. Even though you're planning how to advance your career and you're growing, you should also start thinking about your retirement. So after saving your emergency fund, what next should you do? It is time to start investing. He suggests that you should put aside 15% of your income, your gross income, into a retirement account, more like your 401k or IRAs, to ensure your future financial security. Really, especially if you are in a system where there is no design for a retirement plan, you should set up your own retirement plan whereby you save certain amount every month, and which you can put into investments that you're sure that you'll be able to get later on, and then you move forward from there. So you can set up automatic contributions to retirement accounts to make sure you constantly invest that money. Yeah, put it on auto. Once the money hits your account, let it move straight to that retirement account. So if you're earning 50,000 annually, you should aim to invest up to 7,500 per year in your retirement account. You should be deliberate about it. That said, pay off your mortgage very, very early. Yeah, Dave Ramsey encouraged homeowners to pay off their mortgage early to eliminate the largest expense most people have. Okay, once your house is paid off, you have your total financial freedom. For some of us in this part of the world, it means you should buy your own house as early as possible, build your own house as early as possible. Make sure you're not depending on government housing systems and all that. As quick as possible, get it done. Then you can make extra payments on your mortgage whenever possible. You can set projects to build, set projects to buy your house as quick as possible. You can do that every year or by weekly payments or monthly payments. That said, we move into the practice of all the lessons we've learned so far. How do I practice this in my real life? Okay, first thing first, just like we had already explained, let's talk about budgeting to start with. How do I start budgeting? Start by listing all your monthly expenses and income. You can use digital apps or you can simply use a spreadsheet. And just like our moms used to do, you can use a notebook. Consciously and deliberately list out your monthly expenses, and immediately you plan out your month's budget, assigning every dollar to a job. This is the amount I want to use for rent. This is the amount I want to use for grocery. This is what I want to use for savings. Every money should have its own purpose. That said, you are becoming better at budgeting. Okay, so build an emergency fund. What do you do with that? Open a separate saving account for emergencies. We already emphasized that. So automatically save weekly, monthly, and transfer to those accounts just to keep it safe. Say, for example, set out a $100 a week or a month that you save into the emergency fund so that you can get to that 1,000 as quick as possible. Talking about snowball debt payment plan. Like we said, begin by paying off your smallest debt aggressively. Use every extra income, extra money, bonus, tax refund, whatever you have, put it straight to work by reducing those debts you need to pay so that you get away as quick as possible. For example, after paying off one debt, roll the amount you are paying into the next largest debt. No time. All right. So emergency fund, bigger emergency fund that you can do is to make it a goal to save a portion of each paycheck until you have accumulated 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Pay your way forward. Budget your way forward. Make it such a way that you have enough money that can serve you for 6 months, such that if you want to switch your job or switch your career, you have ample enough of emergency fund that can serve you for that 6 months where you can start a new thing entirely and scale it up. So a good way to do that is to set up an automatic transfer of certain amounts per month into a high yielding saving account, into an investment or a stock that you know is actually growing. That said, You should also remember you have to invest for your retirement, so set up a 401k account or whatever platform you have in your own area to make sure you're saving towards retirement. If your company offers such match, ensure you contribute enough to take full advantage of it. Or there are always so many financial institutions out there that can help you do that. That said, so you should do what? Pay off your mortgage very early. Get your own house very early. Get your own property as quick as possible. So use online mortgage calculators to see how much you can save in interest by paying extra each month. Don't just depend and enjoy and forget. Try to focus on making everything that you have your own as quick as possible. And that said, that is the big ideas in the Total Money Makeover. And when you can practice all this in your daily life, you're sure to make the most out of life and be financially free. There is an affirmation and a mind movie that can help you internalize this idea quickly. You can click on it and watch and affirm together. There is a mind movie that will help you internalize this idea and make it a reality. If you're struggling to budget to save, with this mind movie and the affirmations, you can get your mind to work and start budgeting till you become financially free. That said, see you in the next one.